All right, welcome everybody to Zoom tonight. We got Dorothy and Lisa and Marsha with us, and we're going to cover diabetes, and Dorothy is going to be the person who does that for us, and I'm looking so forward to that. Let me share our screen and put this back up. All right, now we're recording. Everything's good, everybody? Yeah?
Everything's good.
Perfect. So let's start off with our where we share. And friends are the family we choose for ourselves, and I think there's no better example than all of us. And our incomplete sentences tonight are the most fun I had over Thanksgiving is, and what I love most about Christmas, and all I want for Christmas is, what I am most grateful for today is, and what I most want to share tonight is. And I think I will take the first one, and the most fun I had over Christmas was Christmas Day and picking up Tony and him from the airport, doing our mannequin pose. It was
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was a great day. Having the kids in. Who's next?
I'm going to agree with Mommy. That was awesome.
That's
Thanksgiving for a long time because I was surrounded by family, especially given where I was at last Thanksgiving. The company was much better and the food was delicious.
Yeah.
The mannequin challenge was a blast.
Yeah, it was.
Awesome.
Now, do y'all know what the mannequin challenge is? They posted it on our page, but they made all of us stand in posed positions. And apparently they're doing that on the internet right now. But you can find them on my page, my personal page, Al.
Okay.
Dorothy, you want to go next?
Me?
Hmm?
Having family, I mean, having the young kids is so enjoyable. It's and of course having my daughter up here was nice.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Her being able to get up here and make it through.
And if she was here, she'd be saying the very same thing.
Oh, sure.
How about you, Marsh?
What I'm most grateful for today is I am really doing well about not holding on to things. I've got stuff that I didn't even know I had for 5 years in that shed and stuff and things.
Tell us one thing. Tell us one thing that you found. Yeah.
I found probably 200 recipes that I've taken out of magazines and newspapers and they were in this one white folder thing, and I had no idea what was in them, and I dumped them.
Oh my gosh.
Them out because if I hadn't, they must have been in there for 4 years.
Did you ever make any of those recipes that you say?
No, I didn't. Well, I have some over the years. I have some,
Yeah,
but those I've transferred to my regular book if I've made them and I like them. But
okay.
These I just cut them out. They sounded good, and I threw them all out.
Well, that sounded like fun.
Stuff. Plus a lot of stuff I put into the sale. I'm putting in the sale.
Yeah, what are you having yourself?
Saturday it is.
Okay, that's cool. Am I going to be off? I'm going to be off. I'll stop by.
Okay.
All right.
Lisa, what size are you?
Me?
Yeah, if you don't mind saying, because I've got some real pretty pants and stuff and things.
Size 7 pants.
Oh, no, okay. These are 10.
Medium to large top, depending on how they're made.
Okay, no, these are 10s. These are 10s, so they'd fall off of you.
I'm so happy. Thank you. I appreciate the offer, but it's nice to not be a size 10.
And then in my situation, it would be nice to be a size 10.
I would like to be back down to a size 10, but I think I'm going to be at 11 for a while.
Uh-huh. So some people have not weighed in yet. We won't mention names. I just want to remind everybody that the weigh-in ends on December 4th.
Yeah, we're going to tomorrow night.
Okay. And then inviting, of course, that's going to end on the same day, December 4th. We can still bring people in here. Did anybody notice that we were in second place?
I
That's
didn't,
real.
and I usually look at that every day.
That's really good. We have not been in second place this quick before, but we have a small room and everybody's getting their points, and I want to thank everybody for getting their points. This has been the easiest challenge I've been in a long time. It really makes a difference when everybody is diligent. We have another contest going on. If you're sweaty and you know it, take a snap and submit your recipe photo. Marcia, maybe you can take some of those recipes you have and do something with them. And they're still doing the water bottle, and that's the water bottle right there. Lisa won the water bottle was it your first challenge, I think?
Yeah.
And she did that for doing the most posts. And take the selfies and put them on the challenge wall. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens
Here it
can change
is.
the world.
Can y'all see it?
Yeah,
Nice.
The writing's starting to wear off because that goes with me everywhere.
that's right. Good use. And it says, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And we're a small group this time. And for those that are new in the group, this might be our smallest room ever, isn't it?
I think so.
Yes, I think it's our
I've
smallest
been
room
here.
ever. But I'm sure in January there'll be a lot of people back. Actually, they're all telling me they just wanted to take off over Christmas and not feel guilty. Anybody identify with that? So Dorothy, she's going to cover chapter 9 in Dr. A's Habits of Health. Anybody wants to refer to it later and has the book, that's where to go.
Look at me. Woohoo!
And Dorothy's going to cover the glycemic index. Take it away, Dorothy.
Okay, I see Connie has here the 9-inch plate, and that's what we use. 50% for vegetables and fruits, 25% protein, and 25% starches. And this is your goal. If you're on the 5-in-1 right now, there's items in there that you wouldn't be eating. You wouldn't be eating your fruits or your starches, but this is the goal of handling the rest of your life. A smaller plate divided this way. And go to the next screen, Connie. And now this is talking about the size, portion size of the fruits and vegetables. It's the size of a paperback with about 100 pages in it. And that's how you would judge when you can't be somewhere where you're going to weigh it or you're going to measure it. It's just to learn to eyeball things.
And it says that they're so beneficial for you, you could probably even use a great big Tom Clancy book. So they're not worried about that portion of things. Next.
Right, they are good for you. And these are from Dr. Anderson's pages in chapter 9. And the most important thing when you are a diabetic or whenever you're trying to get healthy is the glycemic index. Now, the glycemic index is something that was, there was a group of people that were selected to eat these carbohydrates. And they're all carbohydrates. There's no fats, no protein. So to eat these carbohydrates, and then they measured how the blood reacted. And so if you are diabetic and your blood sugars go up and down, you want to stay in the green. You can't eat carrots, corn, and beets all the time. You can eat them occasionally, but stay in the green, and you will not have the ups and downs that you ordinarily have. And it still is very important to measure them, either by eyeball measurements. You can't just eat whatever you want of it just because it's in the green. There has to be a measurement of it. But that's GI means that this is a measurement of all of these people that were in this group, and they would eat whatever it was, and they would measure everybody's blood, and this is an average. So if it happens to be high, for example, in the fruits, apricots, grapes, watermelon, all of those kinds of things are high glycemic index. So when you eat those, you make your blood glucose go up and down. If you're going to stick to the ones that are in the dark green, your blood sugar is going to stay level. You're not going to be as hungry, and your energy is going to be better too. Go to the next one, Connie. Okay, your protein. This is another one to eyeball. One serving of protein should be about the size of a deck of cards. So that's a good measurement. That's your 25% on your 9-inch plate, about the size of a deck of cards. This is a category of healthy fish, which tells you there's a lot of omega-3 fatty acids in this particular one. This is also in chapter 9 of the book. And you really should have fish 1 to 2 times a week, because that's a very healthy protein for you.
Yeah, I found that interesting when I was looking it over. It says, in fact, 1 serving of fish a week may reduce your risk of fatal heart attack by 40%. So I was surprised when I read it. I know I've read it before, but I was surprised today.
Yes. Now, fat. Fat is something that's very confusing even to me. But this, see where it's a little bit green at the top and a little bit red at the bottom? Saturated fats are so important. You want to avoid saturated fats. And if you look in the green, say buffalo elk venison, 7% saturated fat. Sausage and beef at the bottom is 33% saturated fat. And you know, saturated fat clogs your arteries. So that's the importance of this particular group here.
Yeah, it looks to me like you could skip it altogether or at least minimize it.
There's no chicken on there. Does that mean chicken has?
No, here it is.
I spoke ahead.
That's all right. And this is the same thing. The saturated fat is the most important thing. Stay away from things that have saturated fat as much as possible. And reading in your, when you're buying something and it's a combination of something, and reading the ingredients, saturated fat is a real important one to pay attention to, because it does affect your sugar, whether you realize it or not. And it's also bad for your cholesterol. And of course, this is the same thing, very low or higher. You wouldn't want to have, kidney beans all the time, because they're 35 on the GI.
Glycemic index, yeah.
Yep, as compared to the soybeans, there's an 18. So, but legumes are very good for you. And it's something that you should include in your diet occasionally. I do. So,
but it's really interesting that when you're watching the glycemic index, and when you can stick to I used to carry these with me. I printed them out and carried them with me. This is when I learned to eat, and you can literally tell the difference in your body. The more you stay in the green and the less you stay in the other color, the better you feel. You can actually feel the difference.
Yeah,
I have to add to that. I just have to. You can't help it. All the stuff that you're saying when you're on the vegetable page, there were 3 things on there that I would eat but don't. Peas, corn, and apples. So I have to give a hail out to the meal replacements, because I've been eating them for 3 years, because I don't eat anything healthy. But I've given up. I don't eat red meat. I pretty much stick to chicken and fish, occasionally anything else. But I have to just give testament to the meal replacements along with these choices, because these are not choices for me, but I'm healthier than I ever have been. So kudos.
Yeah. Congratulations, yes. And you see here, the green is the cheeses, and yellow at the bottom, and orange at the bottom. How much higher they are in fat content, I believe that this is.
Wow.
This is calories per ounce. And cheese, if you're going to eat 1 serving of cheese, that's the size of 2 AA batteries.
Oh my.
That is a helping of cheese.
You
So
can stop there.
Yeah, and you have to be very careful of cheeses because there's a lot of saturated fat in them because they're made from milk products. So
Wow. I know, just staying in the green, and what were, you said something a while ago that came to my mind. Look, go ahead and look at this. Maybe I'll think of it again.
okay, these are all good ones. They have very low glycemic index. So these are all good ones. And the fats that's in this are also good for you too. That's the good fats.
And, and this is something that I learned. And while you're watching the glycemic index, you do need to remember calories in and calories out. And nuts are one of the high sources of calories for a small amount of food that you're getting in place of that. So if you're on the 501, you're really going to want to minimize this and stick to the things that you can eat the most, you have the biggest volume of with the lowest calories when you're on the 501. But if you're just eating in your every normal day life, just know that for the amount you're getting, the calories are a lot higher than most anything else. That's nuts, though.
Okay.
Anything else, Dorothy?
No, I'm not on that. Okay, and here's your cereals and breads and commercial breakfast products. Gives you the glycemic index. You know you want to stay in the greens.
You know, when you look at this and you see how big the number is, then it's very clear why your sugar goes so high. Yeah. And I'm sure Marcia knows all this too.
Yeah. What
right.
did surprise me is shredded wheat, because I've always, even as a kid, I loved shredded wheat.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how bad it is for you.
No, I loved shredded wheat too and thought it was good because it was a grain.
It isn't.
Now, when you're understanding the glycemic index, Dorothy, if I'm understanding this correctly, that's how people end up with diabetes, or that's how people end up generating more insulin in their body. The higher in the glycemic index they are, the more insulin they're going to introduce to the system.
Yes.
Is that right? And so this is why people who are diabetic can actually control their diabetes by staying more in the green.
Yes.
Well, losing weight
Yes.
too. Losing weight helps because then your body doesn't have to work so hard. I took part in 2 diabetes trainings, and I was amazed to find out that diabetics' blood is actually thicker from diabetes. And so the more you can stay within your not having the highs and lows all day long, going from eating something that puts you high on the glycemic index and then getting the drop that makes you hungry again and then going back up, the more you can cut that, the better it is for your blood and all circulation in your body. So yes, the GI is it's such an important thing. And I actually use a book, and I'm a GI counter and a carb counter, because I don't care what kind of a program you're on. When you're diabetic, you have to take carbs into consideration. You have to take the glycemic index into consideration, and you have to count calories. And I have the diabetic carbohydrate and fat gram guide. So when I have questions about anything, not that I'm perfect, because I'm just like everybody else, I have good days and bad days, but I try real hard to stay within that lower glycemic index, because I know that keeps me feeling better. So, but there was one thing that I did read also, that if and when you want to have spaghetti or any kind of pasta, to undercook it slightly and have it al dente, because it processes slower in your body, and that's better for you.
Didn't know that.
Well, I just read it in Dr. You could read The Habits of Health over and over and over again and pick up something new every time.
Never noticed that.
Yes, and so that was one thing that I picked up today that I had never even seen that,
I didn't either.
intake.
As many times as I've looked at it.
Well, you have made me realize something that I knew, but I never put it on this level. And so you have several things going on as you're talking about this and talking about the glycemic index. And I really was thinking about I tried to stay in the glycemic index when I'm doing good, but like you, I'm not perfect. And, but I never really thought about calories. When it was in the green, I just figured I can have what's in the green. It's okay as much as I want. So but that's not true, because some of those have high calorie counts, just like the nuts that we were talking about a minute ago. So if you're wanting to lose weight, you definitely don't want to eat even though the glycemic is good for you, you still have to consider the calories that are in there.
And that's another issue. It's called the glycemic load. And there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way that I'm knowledgeable enough to even talk about that. So it's called the glycemic load because, I mean, watermelon is you know, that
it's high glycemic, yeah.
You're not supposed to eat a lot of watermelon, but if you eat watermelon, there's a figure that's called the glycemic load that isn't going to hurt you, but you have to balance everything out. You know, you have to have your proteins. You have to have.
I was going to say, can't you eat protein? You know, I hear it said a lot. If you're having carbs, have protein, and because that slows down that digestion and that rush of insulin.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So I didn't know that until I was with Take Shape for Life, and I learned that if you're having a carb, have a protein. So that's a little nugget right there. So fat as a % of calories in your daily intake. And that was, you covered that?
Yes, it's changed. And I'm really not sure. They're saying here it's 34% of fat in your daily intake. So I don't know really what this stands for because I don't really know how much fat I'm supposed to have in a day, except for the healthy fats that we know from the program.
Yeah.
I don't know what this comparison chart is for. Then of course it's your cooking oils and I don't know how to explain monosodium. I don't know how to, but I know that
monosaturated.
Yeah, so I know that in the green area is what you want.
Yeah, it's just like the other glycemics. Yeah.
Like the other things, yes. And here is if you look down at the bottom one and you see if you drink orange juice in the morning and orange juice is high on that glycemic, your baseline, your line goes way up, shoots up. Then you have a bagel, which is also not good for you. And all of these things make your sugar go up and down. And what you really want to do is stay to those low glycemic index so that your blood sugar goes just up and down enough to make you feel good all day long.
And that's your baselines right there. And Lisa, this is the part, you're gone, but this is the part you were talking about, the fuelings, because they keep you balanced all day long. Yeah. They have the exact amount of proteins, carbs, and fats when you adhere to the program.
I think that's
that I wrote down here. Go ahead.
I think that's one of the reasons I did so well when I first went on the program is that I followed it. So, I measured and stuff. And after a while, I knew, I could look at a piece of chicken. I didn't have to weigh it. But at first, I measured everything.
Yeah, I did.
And until that one day, I had the hot dogs.
I was sitting here remembering that.
I did really well until the day I had the hot dogs. And I was sick. I don't know if it was in my mind or what, but I know that night I was so sick. My whole body just was like, because I had been so good for like 4 months. I hadn't.
Yeah.
I had
been. Was that from guilt or was it actually from the hot dog?
I really think it was a little bit of both, Dorothy. Because I hadn't eaten hot dog. I was so faithful on this because I was so scared of dying. Because my sugar hit so high. And I think it was a little bit of both because when I called Connie, And so she said, so you had one hot dog? I said, no, two. She goes, well, I hope you ate them in one bun. And I said, no, two. Potato salad and potato chips. I mean,
And
it
that
was
yesterday.
it was so, I went so bad off of it. It really did. I think it really was the food too. Because
Well,
when you don't eat it like that and then you do, it messes you up.
especially
You are so right. You are so right. I know this, and I was listening when you were talking about the glycemic index, and I can only pray that I am making healthy choices now and do not enter the diabetic arena, because nothing that you're supposed to eat will I eat. So if I go there, I have my work cut out for me now, and I'm thankful. But I sympathize with you, Marsh, because I think I've told the story before. When I was in Virginia with Mommy, we went to country cooking, and I was miserable for 3 days, and I didn't eat a lot, but it was what I ate. And even now, I'm going to do my guilty share. The first night here, I had a waffle for dinner. Second night here, I had Domino's pizza for dinner. And today, I forgot to bring the fueling when I was getting my hair done, so I got Subway. But I didn't get extra cheese, and I didn't get extra bacon, and I only ate half of it. I'm saving the other half for tomorrow. But my body is making me pay for those choices right now, even though I'm still getting my 5 meals in. Yeah, my body punishes me when I eat not good stuff. So, yeah, it was the food. It was the food, Marsh. I don't know about the guilt part, but that makes me think twice before I veer off too far.
Dorothy, go ahead. I know you were trying to say something.
no, I had written down a couple of thoughts.
Okay.
That our 5-in-1 program that uses 5 fuelings and a lean and green meal is approximately 300 calories in the lean and green meal and 20 carbs. We also have a 4 and 2, which divides the meals into 2 meals and 4 fuelings.
Yeah.
So the program has all the vitamins and minerals that you need for a day with less calories, approximately 800 calories per day. Each fueling is balanced with protein and carbohydrate so that you never get that down that makes you hungry. And once you reach your goal and find out your T, you will use all of the hints to maintain your weight and energy. My T allowed me 1540 calories, and I sent this number to nutrition support to find out how many carbohydrates, because I was counting carbohydrates, I can eat in a day, as our program keeps it under 100. The program itself is only
Right.
100 carbs. Okay. For my calorie count, I can eat 225 grams of carbohydrate per day, and that breaks down to 45 carbs for the 3 meals, and the remainder is 3 fuelings at 25 calories each. And that would be, I could pick and choose my own fuelings, but if I use the meal replacements, they're really only 15 carbs, so I'm ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Instead of having the 25, I'm only getting 15 carbs. So as a type 2 diabetic, I will always have to pay attention to the carbs and the calories to keep myself healthy. But only having to go to the doctors once a year at my age is amazing.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Wow.
We talk about losing weight a lot, but it's really not about the weight. I think we all got into it about the weight, but I think all of us that are sitting here right now know it's really about being healthy. And we didn't realize that at first, and it might be the very thing a lot of people miss when they're talking about losing weight. If they would actually think more about getting healthy, then they would start looking at all the choices that lead to health as opposed to disease.
Well, I think the main thing for me was completely changing my attitude from this is a program for losing weight to this is a program to being healthy the rest of my life. And my goal is health. And so I think once you change your idea to health instead of weight loss, it's a lifestyle. It's not a diet. So for me, that was the biggest change.
Yeah.
And I've told you this before. I was a Weight Watcher for many years.
That's true.
And I lost all my weight when I was 28 years old, and I reached my goal. And when I was all done, it didn't take me long to gain my weight back because I froze everything I liked in the freezer.
That
I
was
was
funny.
Oh, that is funny.
I was on a diet. I wasn't on a journey. I
A health program, right?
health was not my goal. I wanted to get thin. Well, how long do you stay thin if you eat everything that you saved?
I remember when I was on the program, people gave me candy and I couldn't have it. And I was religious, like Marcia talks about. I wouldn't even, I'd find myself with something in my mouth and I'd spit it out because it wasn't on my program. And as soon as I got off the program, I had that candy they gave me over Christmas in my freezer. They did. I had saved. Yeah, that's funny. That was good, Dorothy. Thank you, and thank you for sharing. And
I really
tonight.
those calculations were great, and once I'm a little bit less than I am now, I definitely need to do that myself. Take advantage of that nutrition support. Thank you for sharing that. You gave me some great insight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
Are we ready for our open your mind?
Yes.
Hold on. Hold on.
So what is empathy, and why is it
Can y'all
very
see the
different than
screen?
sympathy?
Yeah.
Empathy
And can you
fuels
hear it?
connection. Sympathy drives disconnection. Empathy, it's very interesting. Teresa Wiseman is a nursing scholar who studied professions, very diverse professions where empathy is relevant, and came up with 4 qualities of empathy. Perspective taking, the ability to take the perspective of another person or recognize their perspective as their truth. Staying out of judgment, not easy when you enjoy it as much as most of us do. Recognizing emotion in other people and then communicating that. Empathy is feeling with people. And to me, I always think of empathy as this kind of sacred space when someone's kind of in a deep hole and they shout out from the bottom and they say, I'm stuck, it's dark, I'm overwhelmed. And then we look and we say, hey, you climb down. I know what it's like down here. And you're not alone. Sympathy is, ooh, it's bad, no. You want a sandwich? Empathy is a choice, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling. Rarely, if ever, does an empathic response begin with at least. And we do it all the time. Because you know what? Someone just shared something with us that's incredibly painful, and we're trying to silver lining it. I don't think that's a verb, but I'm using it as one. We're trying to put the silver lining around it. So, I had a miscarriage. Oh, at least you know you can get pregnant. I think my marriage is falling apart. At least you have a marriage. John's getting kicked out of school. At least Sarah is an A student. But one of the things we do sometimes in the face of very difficult conversations is we try to make things better. If I share something with you that's very difficult, I'd rather you say, I don't even know what to say right now, I'm just so glad you told me. Because the truth is, rarely can a response make something better. What makes something better is connection.
And that was it.
That is nice.
I love her.
That was fabulous.
Good.
Yeah.
It's very.
Brene
It
Brown.
showed the black hole. I started to tear up because I've been in that black hole. Whew.
Yeah.
I am praying for you, Lisa, because I know what you're going through is not easy.
Thank you. I'm not alone, so it could be worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love all you guys. Y'all are the best.
We have a great room, don't we?
Really do.
Thank you.
We're very lucky. And I thank you guys for being here tonight. Dorothy, that was excellent. And Lisa, I look forward to when you do yours, and just let me know when you're wanting to do it. You know, don't feel a pressure for a certain time.
I'll let you know when I'm ready, but I will start preparing.
Okay.
I'm going to go respond to Gay right now when I get off.
Mhm.
If anybody has any questions that we need to ask nutrition support, let me know, because we can do that.
Yeah, and ask in the room. Yeah, ask in the room.
Yes.
That was really fantastic, Dorothy. Thank you so much.
I'm glad. It's
Yeah.
so important for mine.
Yeah, that's part of knowing how to be healthy. If you don't know that, how can you ever practice it? I know you said today when you were preparing to do this tonight that you felt like it was very difficult. And I can see where it is very difficult, but yet in the same breath, it's really simple because the way you explained it.
Right.
I think the most difficult part is breaking down the amount of calories into what you actually need. I think it's, I had a note on that too.
And I do know that. I think I'll post that in the room. I'm going to post what % of everything you're supposed to have in a daily serving.
I think I might even have that.
You know, isn't it funny, as many times as I've read that chapter, some of the things she said just
And
brought it more to, yeah.
7, 8, and 9 are all good for diabetic.
Yep.
Because they really go to the core of what's important. And so I like all of those.
Actually, it's not only just diabetics, because for years I was so good about keeping, because I was hypoglycemic, and that is harder to control because you can't take medicine for that. It's strictly diet. And I was under control for years and years and years. And then after my mom and dad died, I just fell to pieces.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's the pancreas not working, period.
Mhm.
It's either it's low blood sugar or it's high blood sugar. And it's all controlled by what we eat, whether we know it or not.
I have read and I have heard to be healthy, eat like a diabetic. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Dorothy, I just have kudos, Dorothy, because your emphasis on wellness is inspiring me, because it's been something that's been going in my life, but not in the front. So that's really getting my brain going. And as a new health coach, that focus on wellness is going to help me. And all the information that you just gave me, because I know diabetes, but the nuts and bolts that you just shared, that's information I'm going to need to help somebody that's diabetic. And if I forget that stuff, I know where to find it. So thank you so much.
And I thank Dr. Anderson, because for me, it has changed, and it's a process, because I started 5 years ago almost.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You and I started.
it's a process. It's not something that you know immediately. It's something that you keep searching for. If health is what you want, then you keep searching for those answers.
Definitely.
Well, that impacted me, and that is, I never had to worry about diabetes. I should have, for the way I was eating, because sugar was my crutch. But because I never had it, wasn't in danger of getting it, it's never mattered to me. But as you were speaking tonight, I realized you don't have to have diabetes to be dealing with those highs and those lows. So it's great that works for a diabetic, but somebody like me that thinks because I don't have diabetes that that's not important, so that's erroneous, and you drove that home to me tonight.
Good. I'm back to reading more again. Every time I get into his book, I get inspired, and it's like, okay, I need to.
And Marcia, you said that, and I remember too, and how faithful you were, and then you were like a miracle. That's why Dick got on the program, was because you got on the program, and he didn't really think it was possible for you to improve, and he saw how you actually got off your medicines and everything in a very short period of time. Your blood sugar got stabilized, and now we've been talking better than a year in here about how you're struggling with your blood sugar or spiking and stuff like that. Doesn't that make you want to do what you've already experienced that worked for you again? Did she affect you that way tonight when she was talking?
Yeah. Yes. I did the best today than I have done since Dick got sick. I really,
And
yes.
you're under stress.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
My sugar is down, not good, but it's better than it has been.
Good.
So.
Good.
Well, thank you, Dorothy. This has been a great Zoom. I really appreciate it.
Thank you all. All righty.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Bye.
night, everybody. Have a
Bye.
good evening.
Okay.